Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and I have just got back from watching Uncharted, the new Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg film that released in this country yesterday, and I've just got back, so it's really fresh-minded, so I thought it'd be perfect for me to just go ahead and review it. With all that said, roll that intro. So, Uncharted is an adaptation of the popular game franchise. Now, I just finished playing Drake's Fortune this morning, just before playing this. So I've had a huge Uncharted morning / day today. Like, this morning I was shooting zombies and trying to survive while stopping this zombie virus infection from going to the whole world, and now I'm watching this Uncharted film, and this film made number 9 on my top 10 most anticipated movies list, and I thought it was going to be good. You know, it was going to be average, and I'm happy to say it's not that bad. It went a little bit above my expectations. This hasn't been getting the greatest reviews, but it isn't that bad. It really is getting too much hate. With all that said, I'm just going to start talking about the good. Now, one of the best things about this film is the adventure story. All the Uncharted films have always been like an adventure. You're on an island, or you're somewhere, or you're even flying out of a plane. And this one obviously has that. It captures that bit really, really well. The adventure story, the puzzles, the mysteries, working those little clues out every now and then. That all works really well and comes together really well. And that is easily one of the best parts about this film. Is just how it takes that, you know, the main bit about the Uncharted games and puts it in there. That works really, really well, I think, and I think that's one of the best things. Now, the next thing that comes to mind is the casting. Now, I was very unsure about Tom Holland being casted as Nathan Drake. Now, I'm happy to say Tom Holland does a good job at being a young Nathan Drake. I don't know if when they start to continue this, because there are definitely going to be sequels. When they, you know, do a sequel and he's growing up, I don't know how that is going to work, because Tom Holland is a good young Nathan Drake, and you know, he's a good character to be in this origin story. And the next character, you know, the next main character is Mark Wahlberg as Sully. Now, I like Sully in this film. Now, I'm just going to put the game bit aside for a second. Sully is a good and fun and selfish character in this, but he's enjoyable. And he might even have been he was one of my favourite characters, but when he's in the actual film, I'm going to have to talk about that in the negative side, because that wasn't the best thing. But the next best thing is the plane scene. Now, they wanted to show this off as much as possible. Like, it was in all the trailers, they've been showing it off loads, and they don't disappoint with the plane scene. It's it takes that bit from the trailer, puts it in there, and then it takes those other bits. It all works well, and it just creates a fun, entertaining scene, maybe the best scene of the entire film. And in this film, there are loads of little, like, references to other things. For example, like Nathan Drake's brother, although that plays quite a big thing. There are just those tiny little references in there that reference the other games. And also I did notice a little, it was near the beginning of the film when there's like a Nike, box, and then there's like a naughty dog sticker. I did notice that was quite fun. I thought that was a funny little thing for them to put in there. I thought that worked quite well, just as a little Easter egg, if you will. And it was a good one that I actually noticed as well. And also, like I said, the adventure goes well, and this is a very fast-paced film. It never gets boring or anything. You always want to see more of the characters, and you want it to continue. You don't want it to stop, really. And it feels a little bit like a series when you think about it, because when you want like more of the characters and everything, that is sort of like a series in a way, because like you want more episodes, if that makes sense. Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and it's very, like, it jumps straight in, like already like 10 minutes in, you're straight in. Like, I thought some of the scenes that were like in it 10 minutes in weren't going to be till like half an hour in, and this film went really, really quick. I think it was because of that bit. It just went so quick, and it felt like it wasn't... Well, it did stop, actually. It was stopping at times, which was good. It was taking a break. And this film wasn't trying to be a huge, like, big film. It was just trying to be a video game film, and that was good, and I enjoyed that. And it's a fun film. It's like... This film falls into the easy watch category for me. So I have like a little list of easy watch films, for example, like Red Notice, Hobbs and Shaw, maybe even Jurassic World, things like that, Chaos Walking, and I'm happy to say that this film does land in that list. It's not necessarily a bad thing at all, because we all need them films, you know, we all need them films and series that are just easy watch, where you can turn your brain off and just sit and watch that and have a bit of fun. And that's what's really good and fun about this. Now we're going to move on to the bad. Now, I just want to say I do not have that many bad things to say about this film as a lot of other people are going to, because this has got quite a low score on Rotten Tomatoes, and I'm assuming it's probably going to go down. But this is just, like I said, it's an easy watch film, and it works well, but it doesn't feel video gamey. For example, I'll say it, you know, I've said it once, I'll say it again. The new Sonic film, we even got a trailer for it at this film. They're getting it right, because it feels so video gamey, and it feels like you've just taken that bit and done it. And at times, this does feel video gamey, like towards the end, and even the plane scene, it feels video gamey. But then when you're in scenes like the city, and they're all wearing like suits, and like they're doing bidding and everything, that doesn't feel like Uncharted. That feels different. That feels like you've taken a completely different part, and you've taken another bit away and thrown it in the bin. And that's a bit disappointing that they did that, but it's not a bad film. And then obviously the whole thing with Sully and Nathan Drake. Now, in the games, they're like best mates, and they're a bit selfish and everything, and it feels like they don't have that in this film. It's only Sully who does. Sully's the only one who's selfish and everything, and that makes their character. And it just didn't work very well. Their relationship, I felt like they could have done a lot more, especially like when you get like about maybe like into the third act of the film. It just completely just changes, and it just didn't work at all. And I get that they're going to bicker at times, and they do that quite a lot, and it's not necessarily always a bad thing, but it just didn't work very well for me at all. And obviously Sully did not feel like the game character at all. Nathan Drake did just a bit more, but Sully just didn't. He felt like a completely different character to what he is in the game. And I hope with this sequel that they're making, that they can change a few things, and it just works a little bit differently. But yeah, it's a good film, but it doesn't work very well at times. And also they have a lot of villain issues. So like I swear they're like jumping from one villain to another, and like this one villain will do something really, really bad, and you're like, yeah, this is the villain. Then they're not the villain. And that happens like once or twice, I guess. Yeah, you could say once or twice. And then you're just like, okay, so... And then when you get into the third act, you're like, okay, we got our villain. And then it doesn't feel like the villain does anything that seems very threatening. That, it feels like this villain needs to be taken down and stopped. The villain just feels like they're there, and they're just trying to, they're trying to get the treasure. And I guess that you could say that is what they do in the game, but they just didn't really do much character building for the villains at all, which wasn't necessarily that good. But that is all the bad stuff, and I'm happy to say that I was talking about the good stuff much longer than I was talking about the bad stuff. So now I'm just going to talk about a few little things, and then I'm going to go into spoilers. Now, the first one I'm talking about is movie into game. Now, you know, a lot of video game movies haven't been that great since, like, probably about, I want to say, like, 2016. They haven't been that great. Like, that Mario Brothers movie that we do not talk about was horrific. And now they're getting better. So, for example, the Sonic movie was good. Detective Pikachu was good. And, you know, there's a Mario film coming out this year, which I'm very, very excited for, as you know. But it's very hard to put a video game into a film. It's a lot easier putting a film into a video game because it's not going to be a huge, it's not going to be a huge game. But it's hard. It is really hard. And they tried their best with it, and they did it well at times. Like, it felt like when you're in the third act and you're watching it, you're like, yeah, this feels like Nathan Drake. This feels like an origin story. This is tying in well. And they do struggle at times to tie it into the game because it doesn't tie in very well at times. But it still works. There are just a few things that, they need to do. But I think when you do a sequel, it's a lot easier because you're not starting it off. And I think when you start fresh, it's really hard. And also, this had a lot of production issues. So that is also quite a hard thing. And it wasn't even COVID that affected this. It was just like, it just had so much production issues. I can't really keep up with it. But I am going to have a little look into it because I'm actually quite interested. But they did a good enough job. It was okay. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't as good as, like, Detective Pikachu. I thought that's probably the best, like, version. That's probably the best, like, example. Or maybe Sonic Movie 2. But obviously, that isn't out yet. So I can't, I can't compare that. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is characters. Now, I've already spoken about this quite a lot, but there were some good familiar faces from the games that we got to see in this. Obviously, you got Nathan Drake, you got Sully, and also they included Chloe in it, which I thought was quite a good little touch. A bit all round the place with, I don't want to spoil it, but when I go into spoilers, I will mention some of the characters a little bit. Antonio Banderas' character is good. He's pretty threatening and pretty evil. I thought he was quite good. And obviously, I love Antonio Banderas. Like, every role he's in, he plays the role so well. Like Puss in Boots, he just does it so well and it works so well. And I think he was probably the best person to put in this. And I thought that was really good. Drake, he, like, halfway through the film, he just takes a completely different turn. Not necessarily bad, but he feels a little bit different. But then towards the end, it improves and it feels a lot better. And also, I noticed that while I was filming this, just next to me, I got a compass, so I thought that went quite well with the mood, with the explorer thing. But I'll move out of the way. And obviously, I've already spoken about Sully's character. Good as, like, a different character, but not Sully. And the casting, obviously, like I said, it's okay. It works all right. Like, Tom Holland does a good job as doing a young Nathan Drake. And, yeah, that's all I have to say about the characters, really. Not too many huge characters in it. They just focused on, like, the main sort of 4, maybe 5 sort of characters. So, yeah. Now we're going to move on to spoilers. Now, I am going to, because I'm going to share my final review after. So there are, little time flaps down below. So you can skip right now, because I'm going to give you 5 seconds starting from now. So the first thing I want to mention is obviously Chloe's character. 1 minute she's bad, then she's good, and that's just a really weird twist villain because it doesn't last for long. and then you're just like, why? What's the point in doing that? And that's just a way to make the villains not butt in at the sort of middle act of the film. So that's why they made Chloe do it, not the villains, so they weren't fighting the whole time. If that makes sense. I feel like that made more sense if you've seen it. But obviously, we are talking spoilers now. There is a credit scene, but the credit scene is in the trailer where Sully gets his moustache. Now he doesn't look like how he does in the game really too much, but it's better. I'm glad he's got that moustache. That we needed him to have that moustache. And it was pretty obvious that it was going to be at the end of the film because there was like no trailer footage of him having that. I was a little bit disappointed that there wasn't Alina in the credits. I thought she was going to show up. I thought they were going to do something like that. And I feel like now they're going to start to tie it into the games, which is good because it's not going to be an origin story anymore. I think it'll probably go down the Drake, what they did with Drake's Fortune. I'm hoping that's what they do because that'd be good and that'd be fun to see that in like film version. And yeah, there's not too many spoilers. Obviously, there's a lot to do with Drake's brother in this, and obviously now Drake's brother is not dead, he is alive, as we saw in the trailer. I was a little bit surprised with what they did with all that, you know, how they're tying it all in and everything, but I think it'll be quite good. And I'm excited to play through Among Thieves. I might even play through a little bit just after I finish this video. But yeah, now I'm going to move on to my final review. Now, this is getting about a 7 out of 10. And if you're an Uncharted fan, then I recommend you do go see it. Or if you're a Tom Holland or Mark Wahlberg fan, or if you like adventure, like Indiana Jones or Jumanji, then watch it. If you're not really a big fan of all that, but you still want to watch it because you think it'd be fun, maybe get it on like Blu-ray or rent it or whatever like that, or like watch it on Netflix or whatever it goes on. That's probably what I'm going to say. That is the recommendation, but as an Uncharted fan, all Uncharted fans get to the cinema because you need to be seeing this film. So yeah guys, that's going to wrap up this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I've got some videos here that you can watch. Feel free to share your review down below in the comments. Just put a spoiler warning if you are going to spoil, just so people are aware. But there are, you know, most anticipated movies 2022 and everything on there, and some reviews, and there are more reviews coming. And yeah, and this is the new like outro thing. I hope you like it. It looks pretty cool. So yeah, I obviously, like I said, recommend going to see it if you are an Uncharted fan. But yeah, we'll see you guys in the next video. Good